how miserable have you been on a shift, honestly? Like, because of the culture of the practice. Like, there's some shifts I've done where all they do is complain and they bitch and they talk about how much they hate the leadership and how they're going to get out of the profession and they don't want to be here. And is there something you do on that shift to try to change it? Do you call and talk to leadership and let them know after your shift, or do you just like say good riddance?
So I encourage people to ask about how they do things. I think it's our job as a relief veterinarian to blend in while also standing out. I should be adopting a hospital's cultures, their values as much as possible. Yeah, it's still happening to this day. It drives me up a wall when I get told by outside business people that veterinarians are not good at business. We're not great sometimes, I get it, but like that we're not great at business, that we basically need to just play with dogs and cats and leave the business to the real business people, the MBAs. I love that my career has been consistently proving those people wrong and being like, nope, I can innovate in a space that doesn't love innovation. I can create new ideas that will work. They're a little quirky and out of the box, but that's actually kind of what we need to truly grow and evolve.
Yeah, we've spun a web that I don't think we can get out of. I mean, there's so many parts of this profession, the profession that truly means the world to me.
Yeah.
There's so many parts of this profession that are so fucked up. How are we going to get it back?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, we don't have enough veterinarians. We're losing 40% within 5 years.
Yep.
Right? That's the number. 38.
The number? I believe you. I hadn't come across
38%. 38%. That's the attrition rate. 38%.
Within 5 years.
Right. So we already have 7,700 available jobs. We only graduate 4,000 veterinarians a year, of which we're going to lose 35% of them. Right? Let's keep it simple. Let's say 30% of them. And their whole idea is to open up more veterinary schools. Instead of trying to get the ones back in that we have lost, that's what's going on. So that's kind of why I wanted to go, because I also wanted to ask you about relief really quick.
Yeah.
How is it that veterinarians who are so, as we've been talking about, so perfectionist, so like by the book, so need to know everything, they're almost like OCD, right? To that point. How is it veterinarians get into relief, and how can they thrive in relief? Do they have to let go of some things, or is there some sort of path they can take that can make relief, at least if they're done with clinical work but still want to be in the veterinary world, they can do relief. But how do you prepare them for that?
Yeah, so relief is open to everyone. Like I love relief, did it for 10 years. I tell everyone, like, you should try doing at least one relief shift a year, if not more. You don't have to dive in. I tell everyone, like, dip your toe in. Again, most veterinarians don't like to take a risk. So just saying I'm going to quit my job and basically be a mobile veterinarian worker for myself, understandably terrifying. But saying, hey, I'm going to go do relief. I'm going to check out what it's like at another practice. Because like we mentioned, every practice has something they do well. Every practice has something they struggle with. I'm going to go meet different types of clients. You don't realize it, but your clients kind of get molded by your hospital culture. Maybe it's the other way around, but as you've seen, G, like there's tons of different clients out there. Making a little bit of side money is good too, but it really is just broadening your horizons. Again, I've met on the sad side of things many veterinarians who attest they hate their job, they don't like where they work, they don't like the culture, they don't like their coworkers, whatever it may be. And I tell them, well, then why are you still here? And they tell me, well, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. I don't know what it's like out there, but it's probably not better than here, right? So I may as well stay. It's kind of the sad version, but I tell people there's a lot of reasons to try relief. Your risk is low and your potential for finding something you really like is pretty high. There's a lot of ways to get good at it. As far as letting something go, yeah, you have to let go, but I think that's something we need to let go of as a profession. On a scale of 1 to 10, I feel like sometimes we veterinarians want to be a 15 for how much we control everything around us. When I walk into another hospital, I'm a guest. They're my host. I'm going to practice good medicine, but I have to let go of some of my controlling nature and be like, yeah, I'm going to do things your way. I'm going to try to find the right way. We're going to compromise. But again, that makes me a better professional because now I'm better at compromising. I can compromise with clients. I can work with all kinds of technicians. Difficult clients suddenly don't feel so difficult anymore. Aaron Massacre gave me a brain teaser that still hurts me to this day, saying, no one ever intentionally does the wrong thing. And although I still don't know if I agree with it or not, the concept is true that like clients don't come in just hoping to make their pet miserable or make me miserable. They're coming in for help. So I got to find that compromise, find that silver lining, as it were.
Well, I mean, okay, so let me ask you this
Yeah.
question. What do you say to people who think that relief is just creating veterinary nomads with no roots?
Yeah, it's a good question. I would say the profession is doing that in and of itself, and this is a byproduct of that. Relief wasn't a common thing when people felt like they had a place to belong, when there was a community worth staying in. And I don't mean like a veterinary community, I mean like an actual community, as it were. So yeah, I've had people when I was at Rue, or even again doing the solo, people who'd be like, yeah, vets are like relief vets. You guys are just looking to cash in a paycheck. You guys don't want continuity of care. And I reject that. I say, no, I'm a cultural transfusion. I want to light up the day of as many clients as many veterinary hospitals as possible. You mentioned earlier that some relief vets don't call back lab work. I do. I do kind of think that's something we should be doing to, again, solve customer problems and help patients. If that means calling lab back, let's do it. If that means, again, setting up the person who comes after me for success, let's do it. But it's a little old school to feel like I need to dedicate my life to a corporation that has three letters in the name because that's what we've always done it. Like being mobile, you can still do a good job.
Yeah, it's I look at relief now because I'm in the fourth quarter
Yep.
as amazing. But I'm going to ask you blunt and honest because you were at Rue.
Yep.
Why is it that Rue allows veterinarians who are basically babies out of school do relief?
Well, like I mentioned earlier, I tell people that even as a new grad, you should be exploring your horizons. You and I will definitely disagree. Actually, we'll probably be on the same page. I take that back as far as what you should be doing for full time relief. I strongly have no problem saying I don't think new grads should be doing full time relief. I think that's a detriment to your career and just puts unnecessary risk. But I got my passion for ER as a new grad with a dedicated, I didn't get to tell you my story, as a dedicated full time associate. I was working 4 days a week, like most new grad jobs are. I was looking to make extra money. And on top of all that, my mentor from Davis, I was like, I'm doing GP, but I want to learn ER. I'm kind of scared now. Like, do I get 2 or 3 years experience and then jump into it? And I'll never forget, he told me, Andrew, learning ER is hard and uncomfortable. Most vets fall into a trap where once they get comfortable in GP, they don't want to be uncomfortable again and they set their own limits. So you should grow while you're comfortable being uncomfortable. So I had my full-time job and I started doing relief at a big ER hospital 1 day a week. That was the perfect utilization of relief. Like I had my mentorship, I had training, but I just wanted to push myself and grow more instead of doing a traditional internship, which I could talk your ear off about my issues with those too.
Have you ever walked into a hospital doing relief and you're just like, this is going to be a long ass shift?
Oh yeah, man, it's happened again with almost 100 hospitals. I'd say it's happened to good 5 or 7 different hospitals, and even some of them I was booked multiple days because I was like, oh yeah, this hospital, like they look fine. I'm going to be here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. In the first 5 minutes, I'm like, I don't want to be here. This is going to be rough.
You you could you feel the toxic culture when you walked in?
Oh yeah, feel a toxic culture or just smell the cat urine. Again, there's all kinds of reasons to know a hospital's not going to be an ideal fit. Um, but that's where again, each of us have to have our north star to fall back on and be like, you know what? Although I'm here to help this hospital, the hospital is just the backdrop. I'm really here to help patients who are sick, and I'm here to help clients who are worried about their pet. So even if this is a toxic work environment, I'm going to find a way to help people. Even if this is woefully unequipped and low tech and everything else, I'm going to find a way to help people. I'm not saying it made the day suddenly sunshine and rainbows, but it did help me feel that feeling of perseverance and be like, yeah, it's a challenge and I'm going to navigate it.
Before you said some veterinarians just feel like they don't belong. What
Mm-hmm.
were you? Can you expand on that one?
Well, like you said, as an industry, we tend to be high performing, rigid type A people. I wish we were more collaborative, but we're not. And so I've seen many veterinarians who have spent their whole life training to be the smartest person in the room. There's a difference between influence and authority. That's another thing I try to teach people a whole lot. And so it can be very lonely if you feel like you're the smartest person in the room, you're the last line of defense. You basically build yourself up this pyramid where you're supposed to never ever fail, but the game keeps going, and so it becomes a matter of when and not if you fail, and that can be very isolating.
So the difference between influence or authority, do you believe that's the leadership of the hospital?
I think that veterinarians lean too heavily on authority because we're the doctors, that we invest almost no personal development into influence. That when a discussion or debate happens, it usually comes down to who's the most senior tenured or who has the most degrees behind their name and they win, instead of being able to navigate difficult and sometimes emotionally charged conversations, which is why we react to clients when they don't listen to us. We don't say, wow, maybe I didn't communicate the value props well enough. Maybe I didn't explain it. It really is just, I'm the doctor and they didn't want to listen to me. They can go have Dr. Google or whatever else. You know what I mean? We throw it back at them.
So when you would go into hospitals and you thought this place is unbelievable, because I'm sure you've had shifts or you're like, anytime you pop up, I'm coming in, right? What was it about those practices that really made you? Because I mean, you're the expert. You've worked at all these hospitals. What
Yeah.
was it about that hospital that was like, this is where I need to be? I
Yeah.
have no problem doing shifts here.
So the places that I loved to be had strong team members. And what I mean by that is, yeah, we all had good days or bad days, but we had support where it was needed most. So Franklin Ranch is a great hospital I loved working at, owned by a veterinarian. They had technicians that were trained. They pushed us as veterinarians to use our technicians to, again, not just be like, hey, you have to make sure everything goes perfectly or it's your name on the line. And if there was issues, I felt supported. Bradshaw, VCA Bradshaw, the ER that I got mentorship at, love Mike Johnson. He had a strict rule where it's like, give 110% for clients, give it your best. We're going to work long hours. That's the way it works here. But if you ever get into trouble, know that we have your back and we'll help you navigate through it. Just that feeling of like not being alone, which is kind of what we're coming back full circle to here now. Collaborative veterinarians, collaborative technicians who are equipped and empowered to raise their hand and say, hey, have we thought about X or Y? You know, I can do this calculation. I can take this off your plate. I want to be part of strong teams. And that's what they really built as a culture, is teamwork, not, again, me as a veterinarian sitting on a pedestal saying, go on, my minions, do this or that.
Yeah, you know, you keep saying the word culture, and I know that practice culture is big for you.
Yeah.
You know, it's big for me too. Um, how how miserable have you been on a shift, honestly? Like, because of the culture of the practice. Like, there's some shifts I've done
Yeah.
where all they do is complain and they
Yep.
bitch and they talk
Yep.
about how much they hate the leadership and how they're going to get out of the profession and they don't want to be here. And is there something you do on that shift to try to change it? Do you call and talk to leadership and let them know after your shift, or do you just like say good riddance?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I have only on two occasions talked to like a medical director and been like, "Hey, I'm worried about your team, or I'm worried about what I'm seeing here. Like, there's different levels of concern, and this is pretty high on my list." Otherwise, medicine is best served at the source of the disease. When people are venting and complaining and frustrated, uh, listening and really diving in, it can't just be we hate corporate or we have a bad boss. There's got to be more to it than that. And like we talked about, telling people like, this is a fulfilling career field. If you feel like you've plateaued in your skill set, like, dude, there's courses for that. There's CE. You can take on more responsibility. But again, this is a profession that devoutly loves, even if they don't always acknowledge it, what they do. So most of the time, the frustration is coming rooted from somewhere, and trying to address the root of that's usually what I would try to do.
Is there a brutal truth that early career professionals should hear before they try relief? A warning?
Yeah, there is, for better or worse, many ways to run a business that works, many ways to run a veterinary practice. And on top of all that, most animals, given the opportunity, want to live. It's really easy, again, to be like, every decision I make is life or death, so people must follow my word to the letter. No, man, there's clients out there that are home treating open pios for the worst. Like, I don't recommend it. It's terrible. But I guess the hard truth is that a lot of us think that it's our way or the highway, and the highway's better a lot of times. You got to have that flexibility built in.
Yeah. I agree with, and again, it comes down to leadership. It comes down to culture, basically psychological safety, right?
Yes.
And should relief veterinarians expect autonomy when they go on their shifts, or should they be more like, how do you guys do things here?
Yeah. So I encourage people to ask about how they do things. I think it's our job as a relief veterinarian to blend in while also standing out. I should be adopting a hospital's cultures, their values as much as possible. No veterinarian, corporate or private, ever set out, like I said, to say, hey, how can we make clients have the most miserable experience as possible? So we really should try to blend in with what they built, but I'm also just not a rule follower, G. Like, I'm not one to be like, well, everyone does it this way, therefore I must. I don't have that fear of failure or fear of standing out. So, again, bringing this back to authority versus influence. When I walk in the door as a relief veterinarian, I don't expect everyone to listen or agree with me just because I'm a doctor. I want them to listen and agree with me because I've trained myself to be an expert in my field, but that comes through influence, not through being a dictator.
Exactly. Actions speak so much louder than words when it comes to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I mean, and basically, what I've heard about this whole relief thing through you is that it can be a very positive experience. Some might be negative.
Yep.
Believe in yourself and don't do it too soon.
Yep.
That's, full time. If you want to do a shift here and there just to see, that makes sense. But, if you're an early career grad out there thinking about, I'm going to go to a relief at a year and a half without an internship prior, you're not going to get someone that's going to follow you, because at least all my experiences thus far, except for the emergency clinics, when you're the relief veterinarian, you're there by yourself.
It's true. Although I will ask you, G, going back, I agree with you. We're on the same page. I don't want to just play devil's advocate, but I was told when I was a tech that my generation was too soft, as it were, because back in the day,
Nope, we're not evolving. We're not evolving.
We're not. What does that mean?
We're not changing as a profession. I'll go back even further.
Yeah.
This practice was started in the 1800s in a barn by a bunch of men.
Mm-hmm.
Are we still in a barn? Are we still a bunch of men in this profession?
No, we're female dominated now, are we not?
Right. And have we changed stuff? No. We're still doing the things the same way. We still are like, you need to work 50, 60, 70 hours a week.
Kids these days don't want to work.
But and the thing is, though, I mean, this profession it's being run by badass women. I'm not gonna. I got a wife that's a full-time veterinarian. I have 3 daughters. I am not sexist at all, but things need to change.
Yeah.
Do you know how hard? And even though a lot of people say their marriages or their relationships or whatever are progressive, right? Everything's 50-50. I do a lot of crap around the house, and I'd be very proud to say my wife would come on here and say he does.
Yeah.
But she still insists on setting up carpool, doctor's appointments, making sure the house is clean when she comes home, making sure that the dishes are in the dishwasher, making sure that she'll bitch about it. Oh, I guess I'm the only one who knows how to do the dishes here. But, but in the back of her head, she'll still do that. Even though I think we have a progressive marriage, she's still very traditional. So that's the problem. You look at our profession right now, even though women don't want to do it, they still believe they have another full-time job as soon as they leave the veterinary hospital.
Sure.
And so I don't think the profession's gotten softer. I think the profession has trying to make sense to get professional sustainability. I have no problem if people want to call themselves full-time veterinarians at 28 hours a week.
So what's the difference between professional sustainability and work-life balance? I'm comfortable with both terms, but you mentioned earlier in the podcast you hate the term work-life balance.
Because what you need what you need for balance on a Monday is not what you need for balance on a Tuesday, or what you need for a balance on a Friday, or you need balance next week.
Okay.
You need to create a professional sustainability. Like, what's going to get you day to day to day without you wanting to put your head through the drywall or walk out of the profession? Just hang up your stethoscope and say, I'm done.
Okay.
Do you agree that? Do you agree what you need today is going to be the same things that you're going to need tomorrow?
Not to cop out, yes and no. You're absolutely right, G. That
Oh,
uh,
dude, yeah, that's the problem with your generation right there. You
okay. Well,
guys don't put your foot down.
let
You're
me
like,
say it definitively. Then you're right. I don't need the same thing every day, but I also had a really smart person tell me there's no such thing as free time in life. Whatever we prioritize or choose to do is what is going to be our outcomes. So if I don't choose the things that I want in my life first and routinely, they're always going to be on the back burner and they're going to fall off.
okay, perfect. So what you're choosing to do, whether it be, let's just call it meditating on the beach every day,
Yeah.
right? I need 3 hours. So then to make sure that veterinary medicine doesn't cause a problem, you got to figure out how am I going to keep it that I'm sustainable and not freaking out all the time.
Yeah.
There's no way you're going to balance it. There's no way you're going to balance it. There
Okay.
are
I
so
get
many
it.
things we deal with in life. There's no such thing as a balance. It's how you're going to do it sustainably. Like,
Okay.
it's like how you're going to sustain a marriage. You could say, are you going to balance it? No, you just sustain it.
Absolutely not. You're going to give it 100% and it's going to work. Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, you're just going to make sure your wife gets 100% of everything she wants, and then you should be able to watch a football game.
Is that where that phrase comes from? Happy life, happy wife? I feel like
Yeah,
I've heard that once or twice.
happy wife, happy life. Absolutely. It's funny because like on big football days, I always tell my wife, just write me a list of everything you need me to get done because I'm going to wake up at 5 to get it done.
It's true. So let me ask you this then, because you said we're not evolving, and that's why, as you know, I'm excited about the AI space. I'm excited for Vetsie that I'm building.
And we're going to get there right next. Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I'll pause. All good.
Because that's the one thing. Now you've worked at all these clinics. You've done this relief. You've fallen in love with emergency medicine. You gotten involved with Clemson. You're reading studies, and all of a sudden you're like, you know what? I'm going to go into the AI space.
Yeah.
Why are veterinarians so afraid of AI?
Because, well, I'm going to say it definitively. I'm going to put my foot down here. Again, we're tech averse. We're risk averse. We don't like change. And deep down, this is something that I love about our profession. We're usually right. I work with many veterinarians who are anti-corporate, anti-business, and they're like, well, if we institute this new thing, X and Y is going to happen. They're not always right on that regard, but the root of the matter is veterinarians are appropriately cautious of anything that's going to diminish their contact time with patients and clients, because that's our whole reason for existing. That's our whole magic, as it were. It's not how many convenient injections I can do over the course of a day. It's how many owners I can help navigate that illness and provide a solution for. And there's an understandable concern that AI is going to infringe, if not try to replace that.
But then that's ignorance, because the thing is, like, if you have AI writing up your records, or you have AI diagnosing an x-ray, or you have AI doing whatever, that gives you more time to spend with your client. But the problem is that on the flip side, and the only reason I'm able to say stuff like this is because of other classmates I have that are studying AI in healthcare, is that they're using, one is studying as the CFO of a huge hospital here in California.
Nice.
And she's a CFO. She's looking at AI, how to make the hospital more efficient so we can get in more patients and the doctors can see more people.
Right.
Never did I say so the doctors could spend more time with the patients. We have another one who's looking at AI because he's a pastor and he's worried that AI is going to take away from patient dignity, right? I.e. love, showing compassion. There's a third one who thinks that every doctor in the world should be using AI because it's going to make their job easier. Which one's right?
Well, I love that you listed people who are on what we'll call generic extremes, which just adds to the fear and reservation, right? Like that makes it sound scarier, that this is you can either be a doctor who uses AI or get left behind, is like one of the tropes I've heard. Like that adds to the fear, G. That makes people be like, well, I don't want this thing. If it's going to destroy my world and maybe the whole world, I want nothing to do with it.
How's it going to destroy the world?
I'm not saying it will, but from an emotional...
Is that the same person that drives a Tesla and lets it drive for him? I mean, that's like a vegan coming in here with leather shoes.
Yeah, that's a really good analogy. Again,
But,
veterinarians are high IQ, high EQ, so it's understandable that sometimes we just feel things and it's not always
high
logical.
IQ,
But
low EQ, right? Is that what you said? High IQ, low EQ?
I actually think high IQ, high EQ, we just don't know how to manage the high EQ. So it comes out in explosions of big feelings rather than
Nope.
empathy. You
No,
can tell
right
me
there, right there. You said
Yeah.
it comes out as explosions.
Yep.
That is low EQ. Not being able to handle your emotions is low EQ.
Well, there you go.
So, yeah. So, anyways, getting back to the AI though, getting back to the AI. What was the purpose behind Vetsie?
Yeah. So what we were talking about earlier, actually, with the whole Navly, that still nags me to this day that in order to be a great veterinarian, which I want to be, I'm supposed to be a walking encyclopedia of everything I'm supposed to know forever. I told you before, I have a pile of Javmas sitting over here next to my desk that I won't let my wife throw away. I know I should read them. I want to continue to better myself, but I just don't have the time working all the time as it is. So the idea with Vetsie is to be like, well, I want access to a library. I want smarter information and I want it digestible. I don't want to feel guilty for not knowing everything. I want to feel equipped to learn faster and more, like you said, efficiently.
So it's kind of, isn't there like my wife gets an email every day that's like a 10-minute summary of or is it once a week? I forget what it's called, that goes over some of the recent publications.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm sure that does exist. I don't know that email, but it makes sense that would exist.
Okay. So this is that on steroids.
Correct. This is that for publications, universities, textbooks, like we've got Wiley and a bunch of other books in there. This is that directly from pharma companies like Merck and Zoetis. Again, there's just information overload at this point in time. So the project is, how can we get the right information to the right vets when they want it in 15 seconds or less, so that it feels like a nice little help instead of, boom, here's a wall of information. How could you not know all this?
I do.
I wake up that way. I just wake up knowing.
Hey, I read both volumes of Ettinger cover to cover, and that's.
Did you seriously? Anyone ever told you you're a nerd?
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about doing ABVP.
Oh, really?
And,
okay.
Yeah, and because I would have been really good at that, so I prepared myself for I did all the reading for ABVP. Then they're like, you got to write 2 publishable papers, and I'm like, I'm done. Now here I am in academia, on the academia side.
You're doing a dissertation. You could have knocked out 2 papers easy.
I know, but the thing is, I still would have to be in practice. And I said to my wife the other day, I was like, do you know how hard it is to be in a practice knowing that you are probably one of the best at it, but not have the mental capacity to do it?
Yeah.
And that's why I say I'm in the 4th quarter. So, that's why I love programs like Vetsie or Chat or Gronk or Gemini, that I can put stuff in like a PDF paper, and it will break it down, and I could say, explain this to me like I'm a 5th grader.
Yep.
Right? And it just gives you those quick bullet points if that's what you want. How accurate is your Vetsie?
So far, we're running on high accuracy. We're supposed to be like the 85 to 90% range. I know that that's the limit of like what we can get away with AI. I'm always walking between that balance of really, really accurate queries take a really, really, really long time versus, quick queries, but then we lose some sensitivity and specificity. So I have it cranked up much more on the accurate side. I'd rather a veterinarian wait. And let me tell you, doing a demo 15 to 20 seconds feels awkward and like a lifetime. But when you see it pump out like differentials, working diagnosis, actual citations, clickable links to PDFs, at least to me, it makes it feel worthwhile. But 20 seconds does feel long sometimes.
Yeah. Does it ever do does it do clinical tasks yet?
Can you define a clinical task for me?
More than reading a book. Like, is there any, like, can I take a picture of an x-ray and dump it into Vetsie?
Nope, not at this time. We're working on some strategic partnerships with other cool companies that are doing that. We have the potential in the future to do like cytologies and all of that kind of stuff as well. but you can't like scan lab work and be like, oh, here you go, it's going to give you a diagnosis. Actually, I want to ask you on that. I feel like that crosses a line that makes a lot of veterinarians get really concerned, where we start to go beyond diagnostic support to actual diagnosis. What do you think about that? Is that a real line? Is that kind of a fake line?
Well, I mean, if you're going to listen to a computer about one single diagnosis, then you're dumb. Unless, of course, that Addison's like that
You have a way
Addison.
with words.
Yeah, but no, but I think if you're going to use AI to get a list of rule outs, that's totally applicable.
Okay.
Because because we are practicing and we're not perfect, we're not going to remember all the acronym of hard-ons for hypercalcemia. You won't remember unless you know hard-ons. You're not going to remember hypercalcemia.
Yep.
You're not going to remember to do a rectal to check for an anal gland tumor.
Correct. With polyuria polydipsia, excellent example.
Right? And so that for me, that is exactly where I think AI is going to be so beneficial, because everyone is so emotionally exhausted. They're not mentally maybe, but emotionally they're drained.
Yeah.
And if you're emotionally drained, you get a major case of the fuckets.
Yep.
And this is going to help with that. If you're like having one of those days, a program like Vetsie is going to be perfect, because it will cover your ass when it comes to working up a case.
Yep, you nailed it. And you're bringing me back to trauma, where there was an anal sac mass and a patient that I missed that was PUPD, and we were there for an ultrasound and everything else. I picked up the lymphadenopathy and everything else. Blood work was fairly unremarkable. I was looking for hypercalcemia, but I didn't think to do the rectal. And so as we're doing an ultrasound, the board certified ultrasonographer was like, anyone check the anal glands? And right there, anal sac mass. So that's exactly what we're talking about. I love that you brought me through that trauma just to relive that.
I didn't mean to bring you back that way, but what are the two reasons you don't rectal a dog?
Go ahead.
Either you don't have a finger, or the dog doesn't have a butthole.
I remember that now that you say that. Either we don't have a finger, or the dog doesn't have a butthole. Yep.
So if Vetsie conflicts with a veterinarian's judgment, who wins?
Oh, the veterinarian 100% of the time. We have that in our little onboarding. Like, this is a smart tool to make your life easier. This is not to replace you, which means the veterinarian can and always will win.
Now, you also integrated with Merck, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Did that make Merck raise the bar, and make others say, hey, it's time to get on board with this? Or are other, because we're so slow to evolve for anything veterinary, are other people just behind, do you think?
I'm hopeful that it's continuing to make people raise the bar. Like I said, we got our big partnership with Wiley that we're going to unveil at VMX in not too long, that I'm really excited about. More and more people are waking up and recognizing, information is something that people want, but gating it behind the old things of like admin portals and everything else is kind of old school. We can evolve to more open information. Another thing that we're excited to evolve is this is open to technicians too. Like we mentioned, turnover is so high in this profession. I don't understand the benefit to telling technicians, you can't understand the detail between a typical and atypical Addisonian. Like, they can't diagnose, but we're a team. Like I mentioned, collaborative, high-performing teams are what really excite me. I don't feel like we can have that until we encourage technicians to learn and do and be more.
Well, I think that's a whole different podcast, but I think because my partner in crime, Mallory here, she has Fed Tech Nerd Party, and she knows how much autonomy I did give my technicians. They saved they made my life so much easier.
Yeah.
So if a client comes in and only has $200, is Vetsie going to help me with that standard of care?
Yeah, absolutely. Because we can put in there generic pricing. And again, the workshop that I just did, I admitted I can't get as narrow to be like, well, you're in Vallejo and the pricing for spays and neuters or the pricing for a C-section is here versus anything else. But it can still jump in there and do a nice deep dive. We had a really good job looking at torn CCLs. I'll give you a very live working example that we did that I spoke on. I get bothered by them so much, the fact that, again, I understand gold standard, TPLO, board certified surgeon, $6,000 at least, have a great day. But I hate the fact that it's evolved or mutated to your 2-year-old boxer or your 2-year-old, we'll even say pity cross, has a torn CCL. You can pay the $6,000, can't afford it? Cool. Here's your chronic NSAIDs and rest. Just know that this dog will always have a bad knee. At least from our deep research, peer-reviewed journals are showing that TPLOs have a 90 to 95% success rate. Great. Actually, the failure rate's higher than I realized. I didn't realize it was 5 to 10% of those can still fail, depending on a lot of factors.
But
Extra
usually,
caps.
it's usually either infection or a plate reaction, just so you know.
Correct. Okay, good to know. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Do you know what the success rate with extra caps is at the 1 year mark?
Crap. Honestly,
Supposedly, according to the literature, and again, this is where real life and literature don't always align. So that's a whole other thing we can talk about. Supposedly, extra caps at the 1 year mark have a 70 to 80% success rate before they start failing right at the 1 year mark. But 1 year of stability for that knee gives them enough time to build up scar tissue that they tend to have better functioning knees than if you just did no surgery at all. So even though it fails, we've improved the longevity of the knee. I'm curious your thoughts, but that's the kind of stuff that I'm interested in exploring more, both with this project and in medicine in general.
Well, I think veterinarians are all about numbers. And if you could break down numbers quickly and easily like that, I mean, my veterinarian that I worked with before I went to vet school used to use part of the hamstring tendon to create an extracapsular ACL. And those were pretty darn successful. Nylon's nothing more than fishing line. And if you fish, you know that fishing line goes bad after a while.
Yep.
And nylon, yes, is supposed to be non-reactive, but again, dogs, the body doesn't really care for things that are foreign underneath skin. Right? Am I wrong? I mean, I'm just trying to keep things simple. Yeah, I mean, I used to do I used to just tighten up. I did an imbrication on small dogs if they had an ACL, where I just pulled and over sutured the fascia over the stifle to tighten it up that way. That used to work with small dogs. But you know, I love the concept of being able to get stats like that, because that's what we really want. And the other thing is, like, if it came to, like, oncology changes every day, I feel like. And if I'm able to give stats to an owner before I send them to an oncologist, I think that'll help them make a decision.
Yep.
Of at least treatment. I'm not saying, oh, your dog has cancer, we need to euthanize. Like, your dog has bone cancer. These are the different techniques. These are different things. Off of where your dog is now, these are the odds.
Yep.
3 months, 6 months, 18 months, chemo, no chemo. You can go through those things. I think that's amazing. Are you thinking about making a Petsie, or is Vetsie just for anybody in the animal world?
Yeah, it's a great question. So Vetsie originally was started up with me and a friend to be a Petsie, and I was the one who was like, I feel like there's an information overload for pet owners too, don't get me wrong, but I just feel like there's a need for the exact kind of stats and the exact kind of details that we're talking about here, that I kind of hijacked and was like, no, I want to go all in on vets. Could there be a Petsie one day? Absolutely. But I want to do good by my fellow veterinarian before we add in other product lines. But man, that would be so exciting to build that.
You don't think veterinarians would love the fact that they could just send them to your site to get information about medicine, information about disease processes, information about surgical procedures, information about, you name it. Instead of going and watching it on TikTok, at least we would have a very solid formative place to send them. Because right now I send clients up to vet school sites because they usually have great information on there that I know is dependable. But, especially with all these AI generated videos that are talking shit about veterinarians all over social media. And like, if I see one more video about coconut oil solving some freaking problem, I'm going to lose my crap. And they're like, oh, veterinarians are just trying to run up your money. Give them dried blueberries or something like that. Now, I will tell you, if you have tear staining in a dog, dried blueberries, believe it or not, works. Freeze-dried blueberries in their food. Orally? Huh? If you put it in their food. Okay. Put it in the food. Yeah, it works phenomenal.
Good to know. I could absolutely see a world helping the profession with that. But again, I'm just being so careful, maybe too careful. I just don't want to upset anyone and make them think again, I'm trying to cut a veterinarian out of the process. I want to find a way to be in line with their culture, their values, and everything else. The last thing I want to do is tell a client, hey, did you know you can get an extra cap? It'd be awesome. And then the veterinarian says, I don't do extra caps and I hate whoever told you that. So I'd have to navigate that. But I think you're right. Like there's value there.
So how are you avoiding the mistakes at Vetsie that other tech startups make?
We're built and owned by a veterinarian and a team of veterinarians, i.e. me and the rest of my team. We're adamantly focused on solving problems for the profession, not just padding our bottom line. And I'm not going to throw anyone under the bus directly, but as we've kind of alluded to and danced around in this conversation, there's a lot of companies out there. There's a lot of people who are trying to extract value or make money in the space. We're here to make this feel like a sustainable, worthwhile profession. I'm all about longevity, scalable solutions like that. So yeah, that's where we have our eye on the ball and we're not going to miss.
Have you found any metric right now that says, hey, we're winning?
The only metric we have right now that says we're winning is we're consistently first to partnerships and we're consistently first in this space. We've got a couple new competitors.
That's a big metric. That's not a little
right?
metric.
I'm hoping so. There's plenty in the AI dictation space. There's cool stuff there. We're the only ones who are putting our foot down firmly and saying we want to help veterinarians feel less overloaded clinically.
What part of this profession is going to fight you the hardest?
That's a really good question. I hadn't asked myself. What part of this profession is going to fight me the hardest to bring this? I think it's just going to be those who are scared of change and those who don't want to go outside their comfort zone. And the difference there is that if I'm a veterinarian and I learn that, hey, metronidazole is great for this disease, but really there's 2 new drugs for the sake of metaphor that I could be using or should be using, it's going to be a lot easier to be like, no, I don't want to continue to innovate. I don't want to be new. I want to stick with my patterns and what I know, tried and true, tested as it were. It's hard to move people from that place of comfort.
Do you think there's going to be a part of veterinary medicine that's going to be unrecognizable in about 10 years? Do you think we'll evolve that much?
No, I used to think that, but I don't now. After watching '08, although I was younger, after watching COVID, I see the pendulum swing, but I keep seeing us return to the mean value. I keep seeing it come back to like those who work with clients and those who work with pets, regardless of how good or bad their tech is. I've seen some old school people, like not old school in medicine, but like old school in tech. Like they don't have fancy ultrasounds, they don't have fancy tech, but they're really good at palpating. Their clients keep coming back because they love it.
Is there something that when you graduated vet school that you held early on that you now look back and go, gosh, I was completely wrong?
Yeah, as a Davis grad, I thought I was one of the smartest veterinarians or smartest cohorts to cruise around and be like, yep, I know the best way. Again, I love to tell people the example of a hematoma. Coming out, I thought there was one way to treat a hematoma, the Davis way, as it were.
The ear or an oral hematoma?
Yeah, sorry, oral hematoma in the ear.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
There's 100 ways to fix that, and not
Exactly.
one is good.
Exactly.
And not one.
And not one is good. And I thought at least they'd be ranked like, oh, well, the Fossum way with like the horizontal thing and running match. No, they're all trash. And until we get something better, we're going to find the right thing for the right patient at the right time. So that was a big learning.
Is there anything you can look back on clinically or personally that really changed your trajectory?
Yeah, my time at Bradshaw under Mike Johnson when I jumped into that ER. Again, general practice, love it. General practice stresses don't make a mistake ever. ER stressed, or at least that ER stressed, do as much good as possible. I'm talking like offering discounts. I did my first fracture repairs there. We were doing diaphragmatic hernias. Again, that was a different kind of place. But it really helped me see, like you said, I don't have a wall of clients just waiting to sue me. But the clients who you go the extra mile for, that you really care, like they still reach out to me. They still text me 10 years later. So I guess that's where it became really real for me, what it was all about.
And do you have, how when you play golf, it's always that one great shot that keeps you coming back. Do you have that one great golf shot in veterinary medicine where you were right and everyone else was wrong?
I've never played golf, but I love the metaphor. Do I have that one shot that I was right and everyone else was wrong on? Yeah, it's still happening to this day. It drives me up a wall when I get told by outside business people that veterinarians are not good at business. We're not great sometimes, I get it, but like that we're not great at business, that we basically need to just play with dogs and cats and leave the business to the real business people, the MBAs. I love that my career has been consistently proving those people wrong and being like, nope, I can innovate in a space that doesn't love innovation. I can create new ideas that will work. They're a little quirky and out of the box, but that's actually kind of what we need to truly grow and evolve. And I feel like the best ideas, the best companies that I love, were started by veterinarians. Avamark, as ugly as that company's like technology is, started by a vet. Shepherd, their founder and CEO, not only a veterinarian, she took a mortgage out on her house. She took a second mortgage out to start her own company because she believes in that. Caleb and the team over at Instinct, fantastic, started by a veterinarian. Royal Canin, the biggest dog food company arguably, started by a veterinarian. So I love leaning back on that and being like, when I get told vets can't do business, I'm like, we actually do great business. It just looks different than the rest of the world.
We'll agree to disagree on that one.
Fight.
But no. But I mean, come on, you don't have enough relief shifts. How many businesses? Okay, how many huge veterinary corporations do you see that are doing it wrong?
A lot, majority.
Okay. How many in that? I mean, that's the thing, and the problem is there's not enough veterinarians vocalizing that they're doing it wrong. It's because they don't have a good business sense when it comes to a veterinary hospital cannot be run by an Excel spreadsheet.
Correct.
And I think, but I ask veterinarians about that all the time. They're like, what? I'm like, oh my gosh. And you got to remember though, I also come from the time of private practice. Mm-hmm. And probably a lot of people that are telling you that come from the time when veterinary medicine, still today, a great majority of veterinary medicine is private practice. I mean, because what do you think corporate's at? 40% right now?
Yeah, it's technically 40% for the whole pie and 75% for ER specialty.
Yeah, they own. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, there are a lot of. Love my father-in-law. He's a veterinarian. I bought his clinic. But he had more dog food in his front lobby than an entire pet store.
Yep.
He signed up for a plan with Muriel. Mm-hmm. That was like, if you sell a year of NexGard, we will give your clients 4 free doses.
Cool.
And I'm sitting there going, why are you giving away 4 free doses just because they bought a year? You're not making that much money on a year's supply because you're trying to compete with online pharmacy, and you're giving them 4 extra doses. And I was like, how much is Muriel giving you? Oh, they're just replacing those doses. How does that make any freaking sense to anyone who's trying to run a business? But he saw no problem with it.
Yep.
So when I bought the practice from him, I immediately did an audit, and we were missing 40 cases on the nose of Frontline. I mean, of NexGard.
Wow.
Do you know how much money that is? That's like $40,000 at the time.
Incredible.
So no, don't get me wrong. There are veterinarians that are unbelievable business minds, but there's a great majority that are so scientifically trained, they have a hard time thinking about the business.
But let me ask you though, was his business ever slow? Was he struggling? Was it hard to keep the doors open with his practice?
His idea was, as long as he can give his family food and keep the lights on and pay everybody, he's doing okay.
And was that ever a difficulty with the way he ran it?
When he would be complaining and yelling at me that he wants to know where all his money's going. Because I was running a practice in Laguna Beach. He was in Huntington Beach. My net profits were about 10% higher than his.
Right.
And his practice was very stagnant. From the time I bought the practice till I sold it, by the time I bought the practice 3 years later, we're already 3 times gross revenue.
Nice. Well done.
I'm saying it's just, but it was the lack of involve. I don't know if it's the lack of learning, lack of evolving, or lack of just not knowing. Maybe a combination of the three. So anyways, we gotta close this up. We can get back and we can have that whole debate. We can have that debate in person. We can have this debate on a podcast anytime you want. And I'll bring in some other business minds that are veterinarians as well. And they will kind of give you, you're a unicorn when it comes to this, because you have a tech startup. You believe in tech in the profession. You believe that the profession needs to evolve. You believe that the profession needs to do things, work smarter, not harder type.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. And be sustainable.
Okay. How many veterinarians think that way?
We need to survey them to find out, don't we?
Yeah, we do. What's the last question I got for you? What's the one question you wish people would ask you, but they never do?
What's the one question? Well, can I ask you that? I'm sure people do this from time to time, but let me think. What's the one thing you wish people asked you that they don't ask you?
Oh man, I got so many. The one big one that I have is they don't ask me. Well, everyone asks me they ask me the wrong question. I want to go to vet school. Right? How do I get in? The one question they don't ask me is, how do I make sure that I become a strong veterinarian?
That's fair.
And that is the one question I think a lot of pre-veterinary students should be asking. Not, and when you graduate, it's not, how do I not get sued? Because if you become a confident veterinarian, you're not going to get sued.
Yeah.
Right? So do you have one? Or is it just me that you throw under the bus?
No, I guess I'd say I'm surprised more people don't ask me like why I still seem so happy and so in love with the profession. Again, I'm over 10 years out now. I'm well past that 5 to 7 year hump where people are like, you should hate it. And I always want to tell them, like, I love solving problems. I'm a big believer, even beyond vet med, problems are a feature, not a bug. Life is adversity, and it's all about what you do with that. So if you can find a way to find problems that you love or love solving problems, you're always going to have a good time, because they're never too far away.
So was it the 5 year? Was it you just finding a job at a veterinary hospital that made you fall in love with the profession?
So the one thing
vet school.
Yeah, so the one thing I swore I would never be, was a veterinarian. My parents were like, be a vet. I loved animals. I wanted to be an underwater photographer, marine biologist. My dad, I love him, was like, hey, son, that sounds like a job that you'll live at home forever for. So let's find you a real one. I thought all vets did, was like, give your dog vaccines, pet your dog. I thought it was like frou-frou girls, no offense, who were like, yeah, that would be great. And then my dad dropped me off to volunteer. My very first day at my practice, there was a bulldog C-section. We were resuscitating puppies. I got to do like atropine under the tongue and like do all this stuff that is now considered old school, but those puppies did great. There was blood and placenta everywhere, and from that moment on, I was so.
Why is that old school? You still give them atropine, Dopram, and sugar water when you're recovering them. That isn't old school. That is not old school.
Some people.
That's like people telling me you don't use steroids for shock anymore.
Yeah,
you never let anything die without the benefit of steroids. Period.
So I still like doing it, but I've met some therogenologists who are like, yes, we don't do that anymore, but they can do their board certified thing. But all that goes to say, there's blood and placenta that first day, and I realized veterinarians are the best. They're surgeons, they're internists, they do all of this stuff. That's what sold me, was seeing it up close. Before that, I was going to go do something else. I wanted to build businesses.
You just brought tears to my eyes, because that's my exact same story.
Really?
I couldn't find a job. My dog was always at the freaking vet when I'm in undergrad. I ended up first day. I mean, they taught me how to scrub surgical instruments.
Yep.
And I'm like, this is unbelievable.
It's so cool, right? Yes, I'm with you.
God. Yeah, you actually just humbled me there. That's not easy to do. That's not easy to do. Andrew, if people want to get a hold of you because they like you or they want to learn about Vetsie, what's the
Yep.
best way to do it?
They can shoot me an email. It's just andrew@vetsie.com. Vetsie is VETSIE.com. Pretty sure my website's on there too. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn. Even if it's not about Vetsie, if you ever want to build a business, if you ever just want to talk about vet med, scalable solutions, or just vent, I'm here for you. Like, happy to reach out and talk to any vet or tech who wants.
We should start our own subreddit.
That would be fun. That would be a blast.
And thank you everyone for listening. Obviously, if you want to get a hold of me and have any questions as well, I will be more than happy to get them for you or ask Andrew for you. It's been an absolute pleasure, Andrew. I'm sure we're going to keep doing this because we can keep going back and forth for a long time. I want to thank everyone for listening, and we'll see you at the next episode.
Thanks, guys.